Hey guys, I'm Dov, and today I'm back with more Total War Warhammer 2 online action. We're here in the pretty pink candy cane forests of Norden, one of the maps that's been red washed by Game 2 here, and I'm really hoping in the Tomb Kings patch that they fix some of the lighting issues on the Game 1 maps, because quite a lot of them have this sickly red tone, and it's just kind of gross. But anyway, super excited about the Tomb Kings announcement. Tomb Kings have long been one of my favorite aesthetic, Warhammer races. Very excited to see them finally coming to Total War, and yeah, very, very excited. Can't express how excited I actually am. So this battle is going to be Beastmen up against Greenskins. This is actually one of the battles I fought in the Best of 5 up against Professor Pone on Turin's channel. So we're going to be taking a look at this replay in a little bit more depth here. In terms of army compositions, my forces are led by Morgur the Shadowgave. He's, of course, got all his goodies. We've got a lore of Wild Bray Shaman. No Cygor summons here, since Norden is a heavily forested map with lots of terrain. Not really room to make the Cygors work, so we instead just have Viletide and Devolve. Devolve's going to be very good against the Greenskins because they already suffer from relatively low leadership, so that -8 leadership combined with some other leadership effects can definitely rout off Greenskin infantry very quickly. Of course, they have relatively low armor as well, so Viletide will be good in that situation. We've also got a Gorebull for that anti-large armor-piercing kind of protection. He's carrying the Axe of Men, which is an item that he can take, which causes him to be unbreakable and cause terror for 41 seconds. It does have a relatively long cooldown, but a very powerful item if used in the right situation. In terms of the army composition, infantry-wise, we've got Goreherds with shields, 4 of those, and 2 Best Goreherd, one kind of in this position here, and 1 in this position here. We've also got out on the flanks and in the front 2 Ungor Spearman Herd, with 1 more acting as kind of a meat shield in the center. In addition, we've got 2 Centaurs with throwing axes. These guys are one of my favorite units in the game. Armor-piercing missile cav is always going to be extremely useful, and Centaurs are, very good in combat to boot. Good weapon strength, solid combat stats, decent charge bonus. They can definitely stand and bang with, like, hounds and other light cavalry. They'll beat Goblin Wolf Riders relatively easily, so very strong pick in this matchup. And in addition, over here, hidden in the forest, we do have 2 units of Centaurs with great weapons. So obviously these guys are going to be great against any armored targets. Their 95 speed means they can get around the battlefield very, very fast, hit hard, and then get out of there. So for my opponent's army composition, he does have Azag the Slaughterer up on Skull Muncher, who I definitely agree with. He's the best pick up against the Beastmen. He's got Fate of Buna and Spirit Leech. Not too much shenanigans going on, just going to be looking for that direct damage, the terror, and so on. Front line is 4 Black Orcs, so actually looks like 3 Black Orcs. So immune to psychology, very good leadership, and heavy armor-piercing damage. These guys can definitely dish out a beating. He's got 2 Orc Biggins on the flanks for some anti-large support here. In addition, he's got 2 Goblin Big Bosses for leadership, 1 Giant here in the center. So again, just looking for that terror, heavy armor piercing, as well as the Broken Tusk Mob, which are one of the best heavy cavalry units in the game, and by far the best cavalry unit. Well, I say best. The Greenskins actually have a lot of really good light cavalry, but their heavy cavalry is a little bit lacking. Broken Tusk Mob definitely fill a nice niche there. So yeah, that looks to be pretty much everything. I believe there are some Goblin Wolf Riders around. Let's see if we can find them. Yep, 1 here in the back, and an additional 2 over here. I believe one of them is the Regiment of Renowned Wolf Howlers. Looks like, the Moon Howlers, these guys right here. Let's go ahead and kick things into full gear. So first things first is, because I have a bit of a ranged advantage, I'm going to be able to pull Professor Pone up the hill. So I'm immediately getting my Centaurs with throwing axes over, going to be pitching some of their tomahawks into these Black Orcs as they march up the hill here. We are going to be able to do quite a bit of armor-piercing damage before these guys engage, so you can see the axes flying in there, doing some nice damage, actually already dropping a unit model there, so very good stuff. Already taken about 30% HP damage from those throwing axes, so just getting great value so far. Professor Pone very wisely throwing down a Fate of Unit on these Best Goreherd, going to be getting some really nice value from that. But these Black Orcs are really suffering here. They're just about catching these Centaurs, but the Centaurs are fast enough to pull away, and then I'm going to get a cheeky quick charge into these Orc Biggins here, just sandwich them right from the side, interrupt their advance here, and then we're going to hit them with a second group of Centaurs, and pretty much immediately pull away. Just a quick hit and run, able to do about 20% of their HP damage without taking too much damage in return. Meanwhile, in the mainline engagement, the meat shield is going to be kind of breaking the charge of these Black Orcs here, and then we're going to bring up the second line of the Gore herds and the Bestigor. You can see Azag up above dropping that Wog, giving a really nice melee attack burst. And with that Wog, these Black Orcs are up to 80 melee attacks. They're going to be making solid contact with each and every hit. You can see this unit of Ungor Spearman herd, unsurprisingly, already just about done. We are collapsing pretty heavily over on this flank. This unit of Biggins is suffering pretty badly to the Centigors here, supported with the Ungor Spearman, will actually be able to do quite a bit of damage. We've also dropped a beautiful fat devolve in this entire pocket here. It's going to be contributing to the leadership loss of these Orc Biggins here. Broken Tusk Mob also getting some good damage done, and on these Black Orcs as well. So we've been able to do a ton of shock damage over to this side of the battlefield, and already, Professor Pone's forces are suffering a bit. That being said, the Giant in the center is going to be pretty hard to deal with. We're going to be switching Gorebull over onto him since he has that anti-large bonus. And, yeah, pretty much I don't have a lot else. I didn't bring any real skirmish power other than the Centigors with throwing axes. And they're currently mucked up here in the back by these Goblin Wolf Riders. Professor Pone also doing a great job here, going to be bringing in a rear charge with the Moon Howlers, hopefully routing off these Bestigor herd, who are already very low. We are bringing in some Gore herds for support, but, yeah. Gorebull in the center here, going to be battling up against the Giant in the Clash of Titans here. He'll definitely take quite a bit of damage, but as long as he stays focused on that Giant, he should be able to whittle him down. The Broken Tusk Mob trying to pull away from this flank that's kind of collapsing here. You can see a lot of the Greenskin units about to be routed off here. These Orc Biggins are getting very, very low. Broken Tusk Mob have already taken about half their HP and damage, and as they try and pull away, I'm going to go ahead and hook up and around with my Centigors and just come in for a quick attack. Since they are pulled away and, not currently charging, we're going to be able to catch them on the back hoof here, and the Centigors, the two units ganged up on them, will be able to finish them off. And once they're gone, there's not a whole lot that can deal with my mobility, just because, I have a significantly more mobile army than my opponent. That being said, my infantry line is getting pretty beat up here. The Bestigor are crumbling a bit to the Black Orcs and the Fate of Bunas, and the Giant here is an absolute menace. You can see Gorebull getting a nice little roll attack into his shins there. That's definitely not comfortable, but another really nice devolve here. Gorebull has taken quite a bit of damage, though, and not gotten quite as much done as I would have liked up against the Giant. The Brace Shaman there getting punted. Brace Shaman and Morker were able to take out this Goblin Big Boss together, and we've also summoned up a unit of Chaos Spawn now. We're going to be trying to get them surrounding Azag to trap him in, that way he can't get back up in the air. But, yeah, Gorebull's taking quite a bit of damage. Going to be dropping that Vile Tide right here to just refresh that Vigor. Keep in mind, every time you see Vile Tide or Devolve cast, that's going to refresh the Vigor of my troops. So, for example, if we look in here, Gorebull's active, whereas the Giant is already very tired. And you can see all across the battlefield here, again, Ungor Spearman herd active, these Gore herds are active, whereas the Black Orcs they're fighting are tired. Same with these Orc Biggins here, so that's why I pretty much will always bring Lore of Wild, even if I'm not bringing the Cygor summons, just because that Vigor buff is huge in a late game situation. Centigor is still just being bogged down by these Goblin Wolf Rider archers. They will win out here. Unfortunately, it is tying them down, so they're not able to use their armor-piercing missiles. However, we are getting the Chaos Spawn back there to help. They're definitely excited about that prospect. And Gorebull was just about to break here, so you can see he's now popped the Axe of Men, meaning his leadership is full. He is, in fact, unbreakable, and the Terror is actually going to be able to take hold here, and, not too many units around that are susceptible to Terror. Obviously, Black Orcs are immune to Psychology, and Azag up on his Wyvern, of course, causes Terror, as does the Giant. But this unit of Orc Biggins here, we've summoned up some Chaos Spawn to interrupt their charge, and the shock damage from the Chaos Spawn combined with the Terror from the Gorebull is actually going to be able to Terror out off this unit of otherwise very healthy Biggins. So that's going to be a great get for me. The Devolve also playing a factor in that as well. All these different leadership effects. Just watch the leadership of this Orc Biggin tank, and they're actually going to get terrified off here very, very shortly. At least I thought they did. Maybe not, but wow, man. Yeah, there we go. Now they're terrified off. So just between all the leadership damage and the shock damage from those Chaos Spawn, we were able to just clean up that unit of Orc Biggins very quickly. And Gorebull is now, the Axe of Men has dropped, so he is susceptible to routing now. However, he's pretty much done his job in doing a ton of damage to this Giant. These cheap Ungor Spearman herd being soaked in here as well was very, very nice. So once the Giant's gone, we should be able to finish things off here. Very well ahead on the balance of power. Still about 30 seconds left in the battle, but you can see the Wolf Riders have been routed off here. Most of my units regrouping, and the Greenskin infantry is about done for at this point. Just a couple of pockets of Black Orcs holding out here. Going to be dropping a beautiful Vile Tide, disrupting their formation, even though it doesn't do a whole lot of armor-piercing damage. Azag himself is also fighting up in here. Got him inundated with the Centaurs and all these Gore herds and Ungors. So yeah, he's going to rout off, and that will be game. So very well played to Professor Pone. Hope you guys enjoyed watching that battle. It was a nice, fun, wild fight, and one of my favorite matchups from Total War Warhammer 1. Beastmen versus Greenskins is always a really bloody battle, and always very, very entertaining to watch. So yeah, in terms of my army composition, Gorebull coming in super clutch there, taking down that Giant. Giant did get 51 kills in an XP chevron, but Gorebull definitely clutch there and taking him out. The Centaurs with great weapons were really the MVPs there. Once we dealt with the Broken Tusk mob, they were able to just continuously run cycle charges on those Black Orcs and kind of clean them up that way. Centaurs with throwing axes also got some really nice work done on this unit of Black Orcs here. You can see the difference. These two, 104, 105 kills, XP chevron respectively. This unit only 48 kills and no XP chevron, so that's the difference that these throwing axes make. One of my unit of best score herd, 24 kills, 2 chevrons. I'm assuming that all 24 of those are on Black Orcs. The other unit of best score got a little bit ransacked along with the rest of my infantry, but you know, 26 kills on Ungor Spearman herds, never you know, too bad considering how cheap they are and the units they were up against, but definitely that Axe of Men on Gorebull, holding him in the fight there and helping to deal with that Giant was super clutch. So for Professor Pone's army, all his infantry did very, very well. I'm not a huge fan of the pick of a Giant here, just because Ungor Raiders can deal with it relatively easily, the throwing axes, and of course Gorebull. So if he were to cut this and maybe just go a little bit wider in terms of infantry, he may have fared a little bit better. Personally, I like to bring a lot of skirmish cav against the Beastmen because they have a hard time catching them. I mean, Centaurs are really the only thing that can catch, like, Goblin Wolf Riders, for example. Goblin Wolf Riders, if the Centaurs, especially Centaurs with great weapons, chase them for too long, then they're going to take a ton of damage from the missiles as the Wolf Riders skirmish away, and so even if they eventually catch them, you're still getting really good value from the Wolf Rider archers. So yeah, if you were to cut this Giant, actually let's go into the custom battle menu and I can show you guys what I like to bring as the Beastmen up against, or excuse me, as the Greenskins up against the Beastmen. Whoops, not quick battle. Let's go in here to custom battle. And we'll do a bit of a breakdown. So if I pull up the Greenskins here, there we are. So Azag, I really like that choice up on Skullmuncha. Relatively simple spell loadout as well. I like that. Aspect of Dread Knight can potentially be good here, but you already have Azag for that Terror Bomb. So I might do something a bit like this. I do like the Black Orcs, so we'll go ahead and bring those 3 Black Orcs. The Broken Tusk Mob, whoops, not those guys. Broken Tusk Mob. And then let's go ahead and get some skirmish cav. So we'll grab a couple of Wolf Rider archers and the Mangy Marauders. Maybe some Spider Rider archers. You could even bring like the Death Creepers, for example. Yeah, in fact, let's do the Death Creepers and another unit of Spider Rider archers. Maybe 2 more. I actually think that you can only bring a max of 5 skirmish cav on ladder, if I'm not mistaken. So that'll be your skirmish cav contingent there. You have the poison, you have a little bit of armor piercing, and the rest you can just kind of round out with, you know, the 2 biggins is not a bad pick. So we'll go ahead and grab those 2 biggins to kind of support that frontline engagement. And let's see what else we could do here. You know, you could always grab some infantry archers. You can maybe grab a couple of goblin archers here, something like that. Or, you know, you could always just grab some meat shield goblins for the front line, or, you know, something else. But definitely agree with the pick of Azag, the Biggins, and the Black Orcs. Broken Tusk Mob as well. Just think, rather than bringing the Giant, maybe invest in some skirmish cav. And, you know, because the Beastmen tend to lack armor, in a general sense, bringing skirmish cav up against them, you can get a lot of value, especially cheap skirmish cav like Wolf Rider archers for only 350 points. If these guys get 1 or 2 good volleys on some Centaurs, or, you know, unit of Minotaurs, for example, they've pretty much already paid for themselves. So I really like bringing them in this matchup. Yeah, let me know what you guys think. If you like this kind of content, like and subscribe. I keep it coming with more Total War Warhammer 2 content every single day, so stay tuned for more, and we'll see you next time.